Hundreds of households in Region 8 and 9 communities have benefited from food hampers, face masks and other supplies as part of the PPPC government continued efforts to provide relief to hinterland communities affected by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The village of Kurukubaru was the first stop where the team comprising Minister of Amrinian Affairs, the Honorable Pauline Sukai, Minister of Local Government and Regional Development, the Honorable Nigel Darmlal, along with CDC's Director General, Lieutenant Colonel Custer Craig, distributed 300 hampers to be shared between that village, Itabak and Kanapang. Minister Sukai explained that the aim is to ensure residents in border villages within the regions have adequate food supplies so as to limit their movement, thereby lowering the risk of transmitting COVID-19.
Collaboratively, we have done is that because the border towns or the border villages are affected, we would like to ensure that the villagers have minimum supplies of foodstuff so that we'll avoid them from leaving their home. We are going to work together with the villages, the leaders, to ensure that we flatten the curve of the COVID pandemic which has been affecting Guyana.
The team then traveled across to Paramakatoy where another 300 hampers were delivered. That community received 150 hampers and Tusaning and Bamboo Creek 75 each. Paramakatoy, the largest populated village in the North Pacaraima, with over 3,000 residents, has not recorded a single case of the virus, even as neighboring Brazil has been declared the second most infected country in the world. Minister Darmalal commended that village for implementing strict measures to monitor the virus and committed to working with the village to maintain this status.
We have to make sure that through the Ministry of Local Government and Regional Development, we will work with the Ministry of Health to make sure that the health facilities in Paramakatoy have adequate drugs and other medical supplies to fight COVID and to fight other things. Because whilst we are working on COVID, people are also sick with other illnesses.
The residents were also thankful to the government for their swift action in providing relief to them.
I appreciate whatever comes under this new administration. Thanks a lot.
We are thankful for the aid that we've gotten, and I'm sure that the people who are affected with the COVID-19 will benefit.
The activity was a directive from the President, His Excellency Dr. Mohammed Irfan Ali, who met with his cabinet members on Friday last and instructed Prime Minister to work with the CDC to provide aid to those residents, especially in the border villages. Meanwhile, the team also donated 520 hampers and over 2,000 face masks to Region 9 families who are also affected by the pandemic. Speaking to the indigenous population at Waweta village, Minister Sukai also highlighted the work the government is currently conducting to help curtail the spread of the coronavirus.
The new government is in transition. We're taking over, we're establishing what we're taking over in this couple days. And in doing so, we cannot put aside emergencies or issues that need to be addressed now. So we have enjoined with the CDC under the guidance of the new Prime Minister, Mr. Mark Phillips, Honorable Mark Phillips, in ensuring that His Excellency Irfan Ali, our president, our new president, who has tasked all of us with ensuring that we play our part in reducing and containing and supporting this fight against the COVID-19 pandemic.
Minister Darnell also reminded the villagers to follow all health protocols.
We really have to be careful in terms of our movement. We have to be careful in terms of our contact. We have to be careful in terms of our relationships. That is why we have, when we met with the CDC under the direction of His Excellency the President and supervised by the Honorable Prime Minister, we were able to get these supplies to you. And we did not just limit it to the families in Waweta alone. And that is why we provided to some other very vulnerable people in the other villages. This is for the families that are in quarantine because they can't go out to farm, they can't go out to produce, they can't go out to fish. So we have to provide support to them.
Minister Darmal noted too that the new PPPC government has received other supplies to assist in curbing the spread of COVID-19.
From the level of the government, since President Ali took office, he has been able to source more than 40,000 test kits. He has been able to source hundreds of millions of dollars worth of equipment. It is important that we take all precautions at all times. So we hope that whatever this intervention that we have provided, it is going to be a start towards the control and eradication of COVID-19 in the North Rupununi.
Grace Albert, a resident of Oweta Village for 10 years, expressed her appreciation for the government's support.
The donation from the CDC and the government of Guyana, I must say that not from my family alone, but the other families, on behalf of the affected families and more so other vulnerable groups, I must say how thankful we are, because with this COVID situation in our families and more so in our community, we are not able to go to work and even to go out to the shops to buy our groceries and other stuff for home. So I must say how we appreciate and how good it is for us to have support from the government and the CDC level.